Kira had arrived at the banquet, hoping to bridge the gap between Lewis and the Allen family. But after giving it some thought, she realized the odds were quite slim. Lewis, despite his cool and gentlemanly exterior, was actually remarkably considerate and gentle. Whether during their time at the hospital or just now while preparing for the banquet, his attention to detail always made her feel at ease. If a man like him genuinely wished to reconcile with the Allens, he would have subtly ensured they held a favorable impression of him. So the truth was, it wasn't that he refused to make peace with the Allen family. It was that he refused to reconcile with his biological mother. Though Kira didn't understand why he had tricked her into attending the banquet, she figured that if Lewis was unwilling to let go of his grudges, at least helping Jaylen connect with the Allens might improve their standing within the company. Of course, Lewis might not have cared about any of that at all. Jaylen was taken aback by her words. "You know the Allen family?" "Yes, I've done them a small favor." As Kira spoke, she prepared to walk toward the Allens, who were standing in another corner of the banquet hall. But suddenly, music filled the venue. The celebratory banquet's classic event. The dance had begun. The attendees in the middle of the hall consciously moved to the sides, clearing the dance floor. Kira stopped in her tracks. Deciding to wait until the dance was over, people began to look for dance partners. Someone approached her. "Miss, may I have this dance?" Not far away, Lewis was sitting on a sofa chatting with a few corporate executives. Someone tentatively asked, "Mr. Horton, the dance has begun. Aren't you going to join?" Lewis declined casually. "I'd rather not." "Mr. Horton, you're so faithful to Mrs. Horton. How upright of you. What an example you set for us." Everyone teased him in good humor. Hearing the mention of Mrs. Horton, Lewis's gaze shifted toward Kira's corner, and upon seeing what was going on there, his face stiffened. He noticed several men surrounding her, inviting her to dance. More men were watching hungrily from afar, most of them promising unmarried employees from the Horton Group. Lewis suddenly stood up, and after a brief apology, strode toward Kira. As he approached, he heard her repeatedly declining invitations. "I'm sorry, I don't dance." Some men, perceiving a soft refusal, would depart gracefully, while others, the thick-skinned ones, pressed on. "That's all right. I can teach you." Kira would always smile and reply, "Not interested." The tall man pushed back. "Are you uninterested in dancing, or are you uninterested in me? You need to choose someone out of all of us to avoid a constant stream of invitations." Kira was getting annoyed by the harassment and simply said, "I already have a dance partner." The man wouldn't back off. "Oh, many." A low, magnetic voice suddenly came from behind, making everyone turn to look. Lewis was standing there. "Those men were taken aback, Mr. Horton." Lewis didn't acknowledge them but walked directly to Kira. "Sorry for keeping you waiting." Once they saw Lewis approach Kira, the men surrounding her immediately dispersed, leaving the corner quiet again. Then, an excited cheer resonated through the hall. Kira turned to look and saw Jake holding Isla's hand, leading her onto the stage. Jake, having recently graduated, had an infectious youthful energy about him. Isla was wearing a pink evening gown, blushing bashfully. After they stepped onto the stage, instead of starting to dance, Jake stepped back and took a microphone. "Isla, I'd like to tell you something with so many witnesses here today." Isla's eyes sparkled tenderly, and her sweet smile made her glow. Jake continued, "To be honest, I was blindsided by some distractions during university, and I never noticed you. But after spending time with you recently, I've discovered your kindness and cuteness, as well as your gentle and considerate way of treating others. Your hard work bridged the gap between Mr. Allen and me, and our relationship has improved, and this pleasant collaboration has happened." Once he finished speaking, those around them started talking. I knew there was a good reason for the close relationship between young Mr. Horton and Mr. Allen. Turns out it's thanks to Miss Olsen's efforts. That's how we should do business. We should be broad-minded and move beyond the grudges from older generations that are frankly unnecessary. I heard Miss Olsen's mother, Mrs. Olsen, is from clans. I bet Miss Olsen could not only connect us with Mr. Allen but also create a partnership with the Davis family from clans in the future. All these compliments reached Isla's ears, which made her look pleasantly surprised. She knew that Jake was doing this to raise her social standing. After all, the Olsen family wasn't too wealthy, and her marrying Jake was a step up. But now she had gained new confidence. Of course, this wasn't because Jake loved her so much, but because honoring his wife meant honoring himself, since high society held that husband and wife were one. With a smile on her face, Isla said, "Jake, this is what I ought to do." Jake then took a small exquisite box from his pocket and opened it to reveal a 3-carat diamond ring. He knelt on one knee and held up the ring. "Isla, will you marry me?" Isla instinctively covered her mouth, her eyes welling up with tears. The crowd's chatter turned into cheering. "Marry him! Marry him!" Miss Olsen and young Mr. Horton are truly a match made in heaven, a divine marriage. They're indeed a perfect pair. With everyone's encouragement, Isla, overjoyed, extended her hand, and the 3-carat ring was finally on her finger. What a satisfactory sight. Once the ring was on, the couple embraced and initiated the first dance of the evening. Although many more people joined in the dance later on, the spotlight of the banquet had already been taken by Jake and Isla. Kira arched an eyebrow at Louise. "Maybe we should skip the dance. We don't want to seem like you're envious of your nephew's popularity." Jaylen, who had been standing to one side, grumbled unhappily. "Jake certainly knows how to pick his moments. Now who remembers that you and the Allen family negotiated this cooperation? Everyone will think it's all due to his and his fiancée's efforts." Louis didn't care about this at all. He took out his vibrating phone and said to Kira, "I have to take a call." Kira sighed. "All right." With Louis gone, Jaylen watched him from behind and confided in Kira, "Something about my cousin's behavior towards you seems off." Kira raised an eyebrow. "How so?" Jaylen said. "Why does he need to tell you that he's taking a call? Since when did his cousin need to inform others about his activities?" Kira didn't think anything of it when her phone vibrated, and she saw a message from Rebecca. "Miss Olsen, I'm at the banquet too. I couldn't find you in the restroom. Where are you now?" "I'll come to see you," Kira replied. "I'm in the northeast corner," Rebecca said. "Okay, be right there." Kira couldn't help but wonder why Rebecca needed to see her. To listen to the full audio series, install the Pocket FM app now.